In 1986, motorcycle road racing experienced one of the most successful racing series in U.S. racing history. Surprisingly enough, this series didn't feature factory-backed teams with professional riders racing under contract, but instead was a nationwide amateur effort, a grassroots racing movement. It was called the Suzuki GSX-R 750 and 1100 National Cup Series. All across America, from Sears Point on the west coast to Loudon in the east, on every Sunday of the racing season, individual road racing clubs pitted their best riders against each other. Now that may not sound unusual, but the unique aspect of this series was the machinery. Racers competing rode box stock machines, the new Suzuki GSX-R 750s and 1100s. Not only was Suzuki awarding cash prizes at each race, but the top points winners from each participating club would be invited to the National GSX-R Series Cup Final at Road Atlanta. Let's take a look back at the clubs and some action that led up to the Road Atlanta Showdown.
If these falls look familiar, they should. They're on every Coors beer label ever made, Fish Creek Falls. And we're here for the Mountain Road Racing Association's 6th annual Steamboat Mountain Road Races. The GSX-R series through the streets of Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
The race through the streets of Steamboat Springs was where we were to get the first glimpse of the man who would dominate both the 750 and 1100 GSX-R races at every club event he attended. Doug Poland, number 296. The 26-year-old Poland from Denton, Texas, would set the pace at every track he visited. But don't think he wasn't challenged by racers such as Doug Tolan, Joey Osowski, Dan Shivington, Scott Gray, and Ricky Orlando, to name just a few, all gunning for a top spot and a grid position at the Road Atlanta National Championships in November. But the amazing Poland proved to be the most consistently winning rider in the series, even on racetracks he'd never even seen before. Poland went so fast his competitors accused him of cheating. A subsequent teardown of his engines found them not only stock, but badly in need of a tune-up. You could be sure Doug Poland's bikes would be fresh for Road Atlanta. In the Oregon Motorcycle Road Racing Association, the season is a little shorter than in warmer climates, but the action is just as intense as the racers go for the cash and the GSX-R points. Off track, the atmosphere of grassroots racing kept the enjoyment level high. Every racer knew the importance of the start. Quick reflexes at the green flag put the rider near the front of the pack, ever closer to Road Atlanta. The fans discovered the exciting level of racing too, and the GSX-R Series races were some of the best attended races of the year across the country. As the series traveled to Loudon, New Hampshire, it became apparent that with the equality of the machines, it came down to who could get around a particular ribbon of asphalt the fastest. One mistake, and a rider would slip by on the inside. The GSX-R, stock using street-legal tires, would offer no horsepower or handling advantages to any particular rider. And that's one reason why the battle between Doug Poland and Californian Doug Tolan was to be so exciting at Willow Springs.
From New Hampshire to Willow Springs Raceway, the GSX-R 750 race, seconds away. The showdown between Poland and Tolan, and here we go!
Poland made the grueling drive from Texas straight through in less than 24 hours, sleeping on the way in the front of his small pickup. Here in the 750 race, the Texan pushes so hard through the off-camber turn 4 that he gets his Suzuki sideways and right to the edge of the track. Team Hammer's Tolan slows down to watch the crash, but Poland saves it and leads the charge into turn 5. Incredible action. It was Doug Poland's first battle with what could be the fastest group of club racers in the nation, the American Federation of Motorcyclists. The Texan adapted instantly to the tricky winds at Willow Springs and learned to use the draft to his advantage. Tolan, despite being on Poland like a Krishna on an airport traveler, could only manage second place, as the amazing Poland scored wins in both the 750 and 1100 classes in his first visit to Willow Springs. The bright, warm days of autumn in Atlanta bring out the beauties of the city and surrounding suburbs. But there are several thousand fans in Atlanta this weekend that aren't interested in anything but the beauty of 2.5 miles of asphalt snaking in and around the hills north of Atlanta. Welcome to Road Atlanta and the culmination of the Suzuki GSX-R Series, the most successful grassroots racing series ever staged in the United States. As we view the track from overhead, we can almost feel the tension. Suzuki has posted $40,000 for the top finishers here. And that, along with the fact that the top racers from every club in the nation are here, has the excitement level at an all-time high. The riders settled in at Road Atlanta by lapping the track during practice, then spending Saturday evening getting to know one another at the reception hosted by Suzuki. As the racers relaxed before Sunday's final, they kept glancing at the first-place check. Sunday dawned clear and cool, and all eyes were on Doug Poland as he prepared for a 150-mile-an-hour battle in both the 750 and 1100 finals. During Sunday's practice, we strapped a camera on the front and back of Poland's GSX-R race bike. We wanted to learn the fast way around Road Atlanta as Dan Shivington, David Sadowski, and Chris Stewart cut a few fast laps with Poland. This will give you a racer's eye view of Road Atlanta and the way it appears at speed, high speed. Leaving the starting line, the track winds to the right as it climbs up over the Georgia countryside. We see Sadowski and Shivington cut in ahead of Poland to catch some camera time. The next section of track consists of a very fast S section built into a small valley. Now here's the way that same section looks from the backseat of Poland's GSX-R, as number 27, Chris Stewart, looks for a way around the Texan. As the machines accelerate and brake violently, the riders search for those elusive tenths of seconds they need to improve their lap times. From the helicopter, we see the horseshoe, two quick, sharp rights leading into yet another straight on the fast Road Atlanta racetrack. Poland follows Shivington and Sadowski through, all three highly skilled racers using every inch of the track to negotiate the twin right turns as quickly as possible. Getting a strong drive out of the corner is very important as we watch the bike straighten up and then accelerate. From above the track, we see the back straight of Road Atlanta. The bikes are at full speed, each rider tucked in behind the fairing to stay out of the wind blast. Our Georgia State Trooper radar gun catches the box stock 750s at 131 miles an hour. And this is Poland's 131 mile an hour view of Sadowski and Shivington as they shake, rattle, and roar across the hills and valleys of Road Atlanta. The 60 mile an hour corner under the Nissan Bridge is a right-hand sweeper. The racers enter hard on the brakes. It's followed by a short downhill straight and the last turn on the track, a tight right-hander just before the finish line. That's a fast look at Road Atlanta, brought to you by the fastest club racers in America. And the fans lining the fences would not be disappointed this weekend. Let's go now to the starting line where the 750s are ready to go. On the pole is Texan Doug Poland, number 2. Here's how Poland won the pole. He completely dominated the second 750 heat race, collecting $300 for his trouble from U.S. Suzuki. Next to Poland is number 40, Dave Sadowski, the winner of the second heat race. It took Sadowski a few laps to break out of the pack, but he led his heat when it counted most at the checkered flag. Ron Eworth, number 34, a local Georgia racer, flanks Sadowski on the front row after a second place in heat number 1. With number 7, Dan Shivington, the runner-up in heat number 2. All eyes are riveted on the starter as the sound of high-revving, high-performance four-cylinder Suzuki engines fills the starting line. Lightning-quick reflexes are needed, and it looks as if the Texan has the quickest fingers of all, as Doug Poland hole shots a start and leads Ron Eworth and Dave Sadowski around the first right-hander and up the hill. The pack almost bottlenecks in the first turn, but then sweeps after the leading trio, and the top amateur racers in the country begin the race for the 750 GSX-R Championship. But it looks as if Poland isn't just interested in racing, he wants to leave everybody else in his dust. We watch Poland blast through the S's as the rest of the pack dances through in perfect rhythm. Poland checks over his shoulder as he crests the hill, but he needn't worry about second place. The incredible Poland, who has won 90% of the GSX-R races he's competed in this season, is increasing his lead, but no one is sneaking off with second place. Poland may be well clear, but Eworth has Sadowski glued to his rear fender as they rocket down the back straightaway on the fastest part of the track and head for the Nissan Bridge. Back and forth around the 2.5-mile course at Road Atlanta they fly. Sadowski tries an inside line in turn 1 and sneaks past Eworth. This battle looks destined to last all race long. Poland, in his own version of high-speed ballet, snaps the GSX-R back and forth through the S's as we watch from the camera helicopter. Again, because the machines are so equal in horsepower and handling, the draft continues to be important. Dave Sadowski explains why.
It's just like a freight train. You're in the draft, and if you pull out of the draft, you go back to the back of the line. It's just going to be real close, and whoever gets into the first corner is really going to have a big advantage.
Now Mike Harth, number 36, has joined the second place fray. This is an unbelievable effort by Harth, considering the fact that he started from the 13th row of the grid. And even harder to believe is that Harth is riding with broken bones in both hands. Injury suffered when he crashed in an endurance race the previous week. Harth gets by Eworth and tails Sadowski down the back straightaway toward the Nissan Bridge. The pressure is on these riders in the final moments of this 750 finale. Harth sets up on the inside, And when they rocket out from under the bridge, the remarkable Harth has grabbed second place away from Sadowski. Eworth follows him past for third place, shoving Sadowski from second to fourth place in one corner as the white flag comes out.
They're all real close to the same. Nobody really has a definite advantage over the other. Although to the spectator it does look different that somebody will pull somebody down a straightaway.
Doug Poland has proven himself the fastest GSX-R 750 racer in the country, giving the thousands lining the track his own version of the Texas Chain Drive Massacre. But second place is still up for grabs as the battle continues in the final lap. And that last lap is a barn burner with Harth leading the charge and Sadowski just ahead of Eworth and Shivington. Blasting around the horseshoe and up the hill, the order stays the same. From the chopper at 135 miles an hour, we watch Harth lead the freight train down the back straightaway. There are four things on these riders' minds: the Champagne Glory and Gold waiting for them in the victory circle, and their share of the $20,000 Suzuki has posted for this race alone. It's Harth still in front as the riders mass at the entrance to the Nissan bridge turn, attempting to break at the last possible moment to snatch away second place as the checkered flag waves for Poland. Rocketing out from beneath the bridge and exploding down the hill, Ironman Mike Harth holds on to his hard-fought second place as Sadowski holds off Eworth and Shivington for third place at the finish of a heart-stopping grand finale 750 shootout. Unbelievable! As the rest of the field comes across the line, Poland takes a celebrating victory lap and pulls into the pits to get congratulations from his crew and his fans. He's more than satisfied with his results. Doug Poland then moves to the victory podium and collects a $5,000 check from Hank Oda of U.S. Suzuki.
Hold it up, please. Gentlemen, you like these pictures? There it is, 5,000 big.
Then the big guns come out in force for the GSX-R 1100 final. According to Motorcyclist magazine, these GSX-R 1100s are the quickest production machines money can buy, putting out incredible horsepower and weighing just under 500 pounds full of gas and oil. Poland has the pole again by virtue of his dominant heat race win. But Dan Shivington's eyes tell us Poland will have a real race in his hands as we flash back to the first 1100 heat race, which Shivington won. Lined up near Shivington and Poland are Scott Gray, number 23, Chris Stewart, 27, and Scott Cantrell, number 35. The wickedly fast Ron Eworth, number 9, sits a row back with Joey Osowski and Bart Peterson rounding out the top 8. These are the country's best club racers on the fastest stock racing machines available on the planet. That adds up to explosive action, and something says this race is going down to the wire. But at the start, it's the Rabbit Poland leaping to the first turn ahead of local Ron Eworth, with California's Scott Gray a bike length back. Is Poland going to pull a repeat performance of the 750 race? Doug Poland has developed the ability to go incredibly fast on the first lap, even before his tires are up to proper operating temperature. But this time, the Texan has company as the 1100s weave through the S's. Number 9, Ron Eworth, looks like he's going to make things tough for the 750 class winner. And waiting behind Eworth is Scott Gray. The 1100s scream around for the first lap and rip down the back straightaway at over 150 miles an hour, outpacing our camera helicopter with a top speed of only 135. Suddenly, Ron Eworth has the lead ahead of Poland and Gray. Shivington is attempting to catch the leading trio, and it looks as if Poland may have his hands full this race. Eworth leads the charge, and the fans settle back to watch what Shivington described later as the closest racing he's ever participated in, the GSX-R Championship Cup Final. You couldn't slip a playing card in between the leading 3, and Shivington is doing his best to make it the leading 4. A rider slides down the track after he pushes his tires' adhesion limits too far. He's up and okay. But crashing doesn't seem to concern the leaders, though, as they test one another at various points on the track, searching for any weakness or opening. Eworth seems to be holding his own against the Texas ace. Occasionally takes advantage of Poland's wide corner entrances and dives below him to come out ahead.
Road Atlanta has some straightaways, and it's a rider's track up at Loudon, whereas here you really have to rely on your straightaway speed, and your bike has to be fast.
Poland Suzuki seems to be experiencing some handling problems. He gets into a big slide coming out from under the bridge. It doesn't look like he's backing off much, though. Shivington appears bent upon making up for his slow start, and he's past Gray for third, seems to be creeping ever closer to the leading duo. The scratching and clawing continues between Poland and Eworth, each a highly skilled rider piloting his GSX-R 1100 at the fine edge of control. The leaders continue their 160-mile-an-hour freight train, unaffected by anything around them. Suddenly, Shivington finds a few tenths of seconds and pulls up to join the leading pair about 4 laps from the end. Undoubtedly, Shivington relied on drafting to catch Poland and Eworth. The leading bike cuts a big hole through the air, and following bikes can take advantage of the decreased wind blast to accelerate past at the end of the straightaway. Watch closely and you'll see some state-of-the-art drafting by the leaders. As the race winds down, the action winds up, and further indications of Poland's handling problems appear as he runs wide and Eworth dives underneath him for the lead, bringing the fans to their feet. Eworth, riding the race of his life in front of his hometown crowd, leads Poland and Shivington up through the S's and onto the back straightaway. But Poland is wobbling bad. He's in trouble, and he can't figure out what's wrong.
It's a very long straightaway. It also has some downhill sections, so a lot of top-end speed for approximately 10 seconds. So there's a lot of area back there in order to draft past somebody.
As the big Suzuki's throttles are pinned open and the bikes hurtle down the track, even the helicopter struggles to keep up with them as their speed approaches 160 miles an hour. Shivington is definitely in the midst of it now, sticking his orange and black leathers into the faces of Eworth and Poland. The riders are right at the limit of tire adhesion and engine performance. Any slip or bobble will take the leader all the way back to third place. Eworth seems to be dominating on the next to last lap, but Poland and Shivington reel him in on the long back straightaway and hook onto his draft. The second pair of bikes stay immediately behind the leader, using the draft to their advantage and hoping to accelerate by at the end of the straightaway. Unbelievable racing action. Again, Eworth leads under the bridge, but Shivington has grabbed second away from Poland and is right on Eworth's back tire. Race strategy is becoming all important. The white flag has come out, and Eworth leads the flying trio. Their knees skimming the track surface as the bikes slide to the very edge of the pavement. The racers doing everything in their power to nab first place. Eworth continues to lead Shivington and Poland, and it appears he may have enough of a lead to pull off the win. But both Shivington and Poland are counting on drafting Eworth down the long back straightaway. That's where the race will be decided. The crowd standing and cheering the trio as they fly down the back straightaway. And yes, Shivington makes his move around Eworth on the outside for the lead and heads the 3-bike bullet down the short chute to the bridge. Coming under the bridge, Shivington gets zapped with a late-breaking Eworth on the inside, but Eworth is carrying too much speed and goes wide across the paint stripe, allowing the veteran Shivington to squirt into the lead. Poland flicks his 1100 inside Eworth and steals the fast line in second place by a bike length. What an incredible finish to the GSX-R series. If the 750 race was a barn burner, the whole farm's come down on this one. Shivington punches his fist into the air in victory. As we watch the finish again in slow motion, a blanket could cover these three as they perform what has been called high-speed ballet. When it's done this well, that description is right on the money. Watch again as Eworth opens the door for Poland. Poland's been around long enough to recognize an opening, and he takes it with hardly a thank you and finishes a hard-fought second. From the helicopter, we see what happened on the back straightaway and how the draft may have gotten Eworth in trouble. Eworth came slingshotting out of the draft with too much speed to negotiate the corner on the best line. Shivington set himself perfectly to dive under the flying Eworth and hand second place to Poland on a silver platter. Eworth congratulates Poland, and Shivington punctuates his sterling performance with a victory wheelie for the delirious fans.
The GSX-R 1100 race, an incredible battle, and leading it for a lot of the race, and then losing in the final minutes, Ron Eworth. What happened out there, babe?
Well, I got drafted on the last lap by Shivington here, and just tried to get him under the bridge and went in too hot. got out of control, and everybody got by me.
Well, you gave us a great race. It was exciting.
Yeah.
Maybe not the finish you wanted, but still pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Poland wobbles out there. What happened on the bike?
Well, we discovered we had a front axle loose on the front end on the 1100. Yeah, and it just it didn't handle quite the way I wanted it to. So as a result, I ran as hard as I could, and I feel real lucky to get second place.
No question about that. Dan Chivington, incredible race. No problems?
Well, got off a little bit to a slow start and got behind Scott Gray there for a bit. I saw Doug and Ronnie starting to take off. Figured I'd just turn it up a little bit and see what I could do. And, man, I was going just as hard as I could the whole time, just trying to creep on them, and got in striking distance at the most opportune moment. You know, it was a good ride by everybody. We were 3 abreast at times, you know, in and out. It was the best ride I've had for quite some time.
Best race we've seen for a long time. Lou Ann Lee, Miss Suzuki, come on in here with the cups. Here we go. Is this the first, the winning cups, all right? The victory cups. Okay. Third place. Let's go now to second place. Doug Poland, our lovely Miss Suzuki, Lou Ann Lee. Here it is. Okay. A kiss. Okay, and now the final cup. Dan Chivington winning the GSX-R 1100 race. All right. Woo! Hank Oda has got the checks. Hank, you want to come out here and present the checks? $6,000 for the win. The GSX-R 1100 series to Dan Chivington of Marion, Ohio.
All right.
Woo!
Thank you very much.
And that's it for the GSX-R 1100 race at Road Atlanta.
Who's buying dinner?
Road racing doesn't get any better than this, and the GSX-R series will be back in 1987 with bigger purses and an increased schedule. But we can't guarantee a better series final. I'm Larry Huffman. Thanks for joining us.